and welcome to Simply Radishing Yoga. Today's sequence will be called Bend and Twist, a sequence for back strength and flexibility. We'll begin today seated on our mats, grounding down through the sit bones and beginning to connect with the breath, breathing in deeply to fill the lungs with energy, and breathing out, letting go of anything you may be holding on to today. On your next inhale, reach up. Right hand plants on the ground and bend over to the right, left arm extended over the head, feeling a big stretch in the left side body. Breathe into it, expanding the ribs. Inhale, exhale, breathing deeply. Come back to center, plant the left hand and bend over to the left, right arm extended over the head, getting in that same stretch through the right side body. Deep inhale, deep exhale, expanding the ribs on this side now. Come back to center and split the arms and twist to your right, left hand planting on the right knee, gaze going over the right shoulder as the right arm reaches behind you. Breathing into this twist here. Bring it back to center and then twist the other way. Right hand planted on the left knee, gaze over the left shoulder as the left arm extends behind you. Once again, just breathing into this twist. Beginning to open up the back, expand the spine. Bring it back to center and bend again over to your right, seeing if you can go a little deeper this time. Just powerfully breathing into this posture, allowing yourself to expand. One more deep breath, and then bring it back to center. Coming over to the other side again. Maybe you can bend a little deeper on this side now that we've already warmed it up. Just allowing the right ribs, the right side body all to expand. Breathe here. Bring it back to center and we'll take another twist, first to the right. Maybe you can twist a little deeper here as the gaze goes over that back shoulder, really warming up the spine, connecting with the breath. Bring it back to center and then twist the other way again, finding that balance on both sides. Once again, maybe twisting a little deeper here, gaze over the back shoulder. Breathing deeply. Bring it back to center and then gently make your way to tabletop. Shoulders stack over the wrists here, hips over the knees, and take a couple hip sways back and forth to wake things up a little. Then drop the belly and gaze up for cow. And round the back for cat pose. We'll take a few rounds of these, inhaling to gaze up, dropping the belly, and exhaling to round the back for cat pose. Feeling the spine wake up here. Inhale, drop the belly, and exhale, round the back. Take a few more rounds of these at your own speed, inhaling and exhaling, rounding that back here for cat pose. Deep inhales and deep exhales, feeling that connection between the breath and the body. Take one more here, and then press up into downward facing dog. Hips lifting towards the ceiling, grounding down through the hands and pedaling out the feet here to open up the hamstrings a little. Think about finding that length in the spine and breathe. Gently walk up to the front of the mat and grab for opposite elbows with opposite hands to take ragdoll here. Letting gravity lengthen out the back, pulling the head down towards the earth. And begin to sway a little back and forth if that feels good to you. Still just loosening everything up, opening up the hamstrings a little bit more. Drop the hands, inhale to halfway lift, and exhale to fold. And then inhale to rise, Tadasana, high mountain pose, grounding down through the feet, finding length through the spine. From here, we'll take those same bends we took on the other side. So right hand grabs the left wrist, pulling it towards the right side. Squaring your hips towards the front of the mat and really just bending from the waist up to really find that length through the spine and the left side body. Bring it back up to center and switch, this time allowing the left hand to grab the right wrist, pulling it over to the left, still squaring your hips towards the front of your mat and just bending from the waist to really find that length here, working the spine. Bring it back up to center slowly, and then get ready to cactus the arms, shoulders drawing towards one another. Maybe take a little back bend here, just really opening up through the heart, breathing deeply, and then coming back to Tadasana, High Mountain Pose. Check in on your feet. Are they grounded? Is your spine long? Are you reaching towards the ceiling or the sky with your arms? And then fold. Inhale to halfway lift, and exhale to plant the hands, stepping back into plank. Finding that good position here, shoulders stacked over the wrists, navel drawing to the spine, and then lower down through Chaturanga to upward facing dog. And then exhaling back to down dog, taking a breath here. Take one deep inhale and sigh it out here. Then look to the top of your mat, stepping or hopping up to the front. Inhaling to halfway lift, and then exhaling to fold. Inhaling to rise, Tadasana, High Mountain, and exhaling to fold again. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, jump or step back to plank. Flow through your vinyasa, upward facing dog to downward facing dog. And take a deep breath here before looking to the top of your mat. Hop, step, or jump there. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale to rise, Tadasana, High Mountain, and exhale to fold over. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, make your way to plank. Taking Chaturanga to upward facing dog and bringing it back to downward facing dog, breathing here again. Look to the top of your mat, hop, step, or jump. Inhale to halfway lift and exhale to fold. Inhale to rise, Tadasana, High Mountain Pose, and then exhale to fold over. Inhale to halfway lift, and exhale to plant the hands, coming back into your plank, and then lowering down all the way to your mat. We'll take Sphinx Pose here, so finding that little back bend, forearms planted on the ground, elbows will be directly under your shoulders. Just find that length in your spine here, kind of resting on the shoulders. And if you'd like to, take King Pigeon, coming up onto the hands, head reaches back towards your lifted feet, engaging through the glutes and the hamstrings to bring those feet towards the head. And release it. Gently make your way up to your downward facing dog again and breathe. Continue to ground down through the hands and find that length in the hamstrings. And then inhale to lift the right leg for three-legged dog, opening up into fire hydrant before flipping it over to flipped dog. You can stay in fire hydrant if that feels better to you, or open up heart in your flipped dog here. Right foot on the ground, right arm reaching long. And breathing here before flipping it back over to three-legged dog, and then stepping it through for high crescent lunge, grounding down to the right foot and reaching tall, coming up on the toes and balls of the left foot. Then bringing your hands to heart center, and on your exhale, twist. Left arm coming to meet the right thigh. And if it's in your practice, open up the arms, right hand reaching towards the ceiling, left arm reaching towards your mat, really getting in a deep twist here as you continue to deeply inhale and exhale. Inhale to bring it back towards center briefly before opening up into Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. Shoulders stacked over the hips, and then taking Peaceful Warrior here, right arm reaching over the head, finding that length through the right side body again, really waking up the spine, and then bringing it forward to extended side angle, right elbow meeting the right thigh, opening up through the left side body, grounding down through both feet and really finding length here in the spine. Take one more deep breath, and then bring it back to Peaceful Warrior. Really working the spine and the abs here, drawing in navel to spine as you move back and forth Then straightening the right leg and allowing yourself to windmill down into Trikonasana, triangle pose. Right hand can reach for your shin, the mat, or a block. Our goal in this posture is to really open up through the front side body, more so than reaching the ground. So think about your hips stacking on top of one another, your shoulders stacking on top of one another, and your heart opening just as much as your hips do. Find that openness and breathe into it. Bring it back up to Warrior Two briefly, and then come back into your Crescent Lunge, right foot in front, left foot behind, and take a twist, planting the left hand next to the right foot and reaching tall. Begin to ground down through the left hand and the back foot, and then bring the right leg back to meet the left foot, coming into a side plank. You can lift your right leg if it's in your practice, being strong here. If you floated up your right leg, you can take Wild Thing, gently stepping the right foot back to open up the heart, but still grounding down through the left hand and the left foot. Just finding a little openness in the spine and heart here before flipping it back over to your plank and flowing through a vinyasa, upward facing dog to downward facing dog. Ground down through the hands here, finding length in the spine and the hamstrings. Then inhale to float the left leg up, opening up into fire hydrant and either staying here or flipping your dog, bringing the left foot down to meet the ground. Left arm stays floating, really opening up the heart here, opening up the hips, the whole front of the body, breathing into it, and then flipping it back over or coming back into three-legged dog. Left leg extended long before it steps forward for Crescent Lunge, grounding down through the feet, reaching up tall, and then bringing your hands down to heart center to take a twist, right elbow or arm planting on the left thigh. You can keep your hands here at heart center, or if you'd like a deeper twist, open up, reaching towards the ceiling and the mat, finding length from fingertip to fingertip, from your heel to your head. Breathe into this twist, then bring it back to center and open up into Warrior Two again, finding strength through the legs, shoulders stacked over the hips, and then take Peaceful Warrior, reaching back behind you, left arm over the head, finding length through the left side body, and just breathing deeply into the stretch here, continuing to really get into the spine, finding that length, and then coming forward to extended side angle, finding that length through the other side of the body now. Left elbow on your left thigh, right arm reaching over, breathing here, and then engaging the core again to move back into Peaceful Warrior, finding that length through the left side body again, then straightening the left leg and exhaling to windmill down into Trikonasana, triangle pose. Once again, our goal here is to really open up through the front body, stacking the shoulders over the shoulders, hips over the hips. So you reach for a block or your shin if you need it, and if you found that openness, then you can go ahead and reach for your mat. Just wherever you are, find your pose and hold, breathing. Then bring it back up to center, twisting around into Crescent Lunge, before dropping the right hand inside of the left foot, finding that twist here, then beginning to ground down through the right hand and the back foot, before moving that left leg back for side plank. Finding strength here through the obliques and lifting the leg if it's in your practice, really grounding down. If you've lifted your leg, you can take Wild Thing here, stepping the left foot back, really opening up through the heart, but still finding strength through the right hand and right foot. Take a breath wherever you're at before flipping it back over to plank and lowering through your chaturanga to upward facing dog and coming back up to downward facing dog. Take a deep breath here and then grounding down through the left hand, lift the right hand and reach back towards the left leg here, opening up towards the left side of your mat. Finding that twist here, really opening up the chest, breathing deeply. Plant the right hand again and reach for the right leg with the left hand, opening up the chest towards the other side of your mat here. Getting in that same twist on the other side to find balance on both of our sides. Breathing into it here. And then planting the left hand again. Finding your downward dog for a breath before moving into dolphin. So come down onto your forearms, and then you can begin to gently inch the feet towards your elbows if you can. This is really going to strengthen our shoulders, so take it to a point where you feel comfortable. But think about stacking the hips over the shoulders here. This is a good prep for forearm stand too, as it helps you to find that strength through the shoulders and balance here. So breathe and feel strong, grounding down through the forearms and the feet. And when you're ready, release into Child's Pose. Finding a little rest here. Reaching forward long to kind of stretch out those shoulders after a little bit of intense shoulder work. And then walk your hands over to the right side of your mat, finding that same banana pose we found seated and standing, that length through the left side body. Breathing into it deeply. Bringing down your heart rate a little bit. Walking the hands back to center and then over to the other side. Your right hand can stack on top of the left, finding that length through the right side body, that same little banana that we've been getting throughout our practice, which really helps us to lengthen out our spines. Once again, just finding rest. So you bring it back to center, and then rock forward and onto your hands and knees for tabletop. Take a few cat-cows here. Moving at your own pace, just getting in a little more spinal work, still finding that rest. Moving however feels good to you, just staying connected with your breath. Inhaling and exhaling before coming down onto your belly to prepare to move into Locust Pose. Arms by your side, palms up, and then inhale deeply, lifting up through your shoulders, through your feet, engaging the entire back of your body, finding so much strength here in the back. Breathing deeply, lower it down. You can take locust like this again if you'd like, or take a bound locust, binding your hands behind your back and then bringing it all up again, finding all that same strength, maybe a little more open through your shoulders and your heart with that bind behind your back. Breathe here deeply, and then lower it down. You can take locust once more or reach back for your feet to take bow pose. This will open up your heart as much as possible, using the strength of your legs to pull the heart open a little bit more, grasping at the ankles, breathing here. Maybe you rock back and forth with your powerful breaths. That's okay. Just continue to find that connection with your breath. And then exhale to release. You can windshield wiper the feet back and forth here, just finding a little more rest before we continue with our practice. Breathing as they rock back and forth, and then coming to lay on your belly before pressing back up into downward facing dog. Take a deep inhale and exhale here before looking to the top of your mat and making your way there however you'd like to. Inhale to halfway lift, and exhale to fold. Inhale to rise, Tadasana, high mountain, and then sink into chair pose, Utkatasana. Hands come to heart center and twist towards the right now, left elbow hooking on the right thigh. You can open up the arms here if it's in your practice, however deep you would like to take it here. But make sure your knees are in line with one another. One isn't jutting in front of the other. Ground down through the feet as you sink your hips low, twisting, and then coming back to center. Bringing the hands to heart center and twisting the other way. Right elbow meeting the left thigh, and then opening up the arms if it's in your practice. Once again, checking in on those knees, really grounding down through the feet as you twist open and lower the hips towards the ground. Find strength here before bringing it back to center. And heel-toeing the feet apart to sink down into Malasana squat, yogi squat. You can place a block under the hips if you need to, using the arms to open up the legs a little bit more, which will open up the hips. If you'd like to take this a little bit further, we'll take a twist and a bind. So first, planting the right hand on the ground and opening up the left arm towards the ceiling. You can keep it here or take a bind behind your back, right arm reaching around the right leg to meet the left hand reaching back behind you. Really opening up through the heart here if you've chosen to take this twist. Before bringing it back to center and taking it the other way, left hand planting, right arm reaching tall, and maybe taking that bind, allowing the left arm to reach around the left leg. The right hand that comes around the back. Just wherever you are, open up through the back, through the hips, just finding where it feels good to you. If you've taken a bind, bring it back into Malasana squat, holding here for one more breath. We're gently rolling backwards, taking a few rolls along the spine, a little self-massage, before coming up onto your hands and knees. And then moving on to just your knees for Camel Pose. So if your whole body stacks over your knees, hands on the lower back, and you can keep it here, just opening up the heart and reaching back, or you can bring your arms up and reach for your feet, one hand after the other, reaching down behind you, drawing the heart open, really getting into the spine here. Wherever you are, just finding openness and continuing to breathe. Don't hold your breath, but let it give you strength to hold this posture, opening up your heart and your spine. If you've reached for your feet, bring it back up gently, and from wherever you're at, we'll take a child's pose here. Take the yen style, knees together, arms come to your side, just curling into a little ball, allowing yourself to ground down again here as you've really opened up your heart in the posture before. Just take a moment of rest here, feeling your breath in and out. And then we'll come back up onto our knees to move into one more Camel Pose. So coming onto your knees, hands behind your back. You can stay here, opening up the heart, or reach the hands towards the ceiling. If you reach for your feet, bring the other hand down first. Maybe you feel a little bit more open now that we've warmed up the spine and the posture before. Maybe you can reach the heart a little higher. Find a little more openness in the back, spine finding even more length here. Just breathing into it wherever you are. Deep inhale, deep exhale. If your hands were at your feet, gently come back up, reaching tall, before coming back down into child's pose again. Arms behind you, knees together, curling up into that little ball. Allow yourself a moment of rest here, reconnecting with the breath on each inhale and exhale, before gently making your way up into a seated position, legs extended long in front of you, back straight, grounding down through the sit bones, and coming into a twist by bringing the right knee up, planting the right foot alongside the left thigh, and using the left elbow and the right leg to bring yourself into a twist. Gaze can go over the back right shoulder, finding that same posture we've been finding throughout our practice, finding that back flexibility, breathing into it. Inhale, and then come back to center, planting the right foot alongside the left thigh for seated tree, and then gently folding over that left leg. Finding a little hamstring opener here, allowing the back to release a little bit, and just continuing to breathe into it. Inhale and exhale. Being aware of that breath and body connection. Your next inhale, bring it back up. We'll take Stargazer, planting the right hand coming up on the right knee. Left leg extends long, heart opens, left arm extended long behind you, undoing some of that bending forward that we were just practicing. Bring it back down and we'll get in the other side, extending the right leg long now and picking up the left leg. Planting the left foot alongside the right thigh and using that right elbow to come into your twist, gazing over the back left shoulder, getting in the other side, finding that balance, and continuing with that breath and body connection on each inhale and exhale. Allow yourself to open up. Take one more deep inhale and gently sigh it out. And we'll come into our next pose, seated tree, planting the left foot alongside the right thigh, inhaling before folding over that right leg. Once again, allowing the hamstring to open, allowing the back to relax a little bit. Allowing gravity to do a little work, just opening you up here. Inhale and exhale, being mindful of the breath. One more deep inhale brings us back up and into Stargazer, planting that left hand, coming up on the left knee, opening up the heart on the other side, reversing all that folding, finding a little bit of flexibility. Just allow yourself to open up here. And then bring it back down. Both legs extend long and gently come onto the back. Plant the feet and prepare for bridge pose, grounding down through the shoulders and the feet. Inhale to lift the hips up powerfully, finding strength through the whole back body and continuing to breathe as the heart begins to open here. Deep inhale and exhale, then bring the hands up for bridge pulses for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one. And bring it down. From here you can take either wheel or bridge for 3 rounds of heart openers. So choose which one you will be practicing tonight. If you choose to take wheel, plant your hands and find strength lifting up bridge or wheel. This is the pinnacle of our practice where our hearts are the most open. We're really embracing that back flexibility that we've been practicing throughout this sequence, continuing to breathe into it. Don't miss your breath. Don't allow it to escape. Bring it down, and we have 2 more rounds, bridge or wheel. Take any movement you need to prepare for it and lift up. You're halfway there. Feeling so strong here, finding strength through the grounding feet, through the shoulders, all that openness in the heart, everything we've been working forward to this sequence. Bring it down and take any movements you need. This is our last one, so if you want to take wheel, I invite you to go ahead and do so. This is your last chance. Come up, bridge or wheel. Finding so much strength here, our last big posture before we begin to close out our practice. Take one more deep inhale here and gently sigh it out, coming down onto your back and taking Supine Konasana, soles of the feet together, knees wide. As you inhale, feel the breath fill up the lungs to the belly, feeling the belly rise slightly, and as you exhale, expel the breath, feeling it lower again. From here, we'll move into our inversion. That can be waterfall or shoulder stand. So you can either just bring the legs up for waterfall, place a block under your lower back if you'd like to, or rock up into shoulder stand. If you've taken shoulder stand, make sure you aren't putting too much pressure in the neck, but place that strength in the shoulders. You can drop down to plow from shoulder stand if you'd like. Just wherever you are, feeling that blood rush back to the heart, giving us that life and energy as we close out our practice. If you've taken plow, you can take Deaf Yogi's pose, knees coming on either side of the head. Just wherever you're at, continue to breathe here. A restful breath as we begin to close out our practice. From plow or Deaf Yogi's pose, make your way up into shoulder stand. Feet up tall again for one more breath. And wherever you're at, gently lower back down to the ground. Our counter pose for any place you are at today will be fish pose. So plant the hands and elbows on the ground, resting on your forearms, drop the head back, heart lifting. You can take a lion's breath here, exhaling powerfully through the mouth as your tongue is out, really cleansing yourself of anything that you're still holding on to today that isn't serving you, coming out of this practice clean and ready to take on the rest of your day. Gently make your way back onto your back from here, and then bring your knees in towards the chest for Supine Twist. Arms to come to a T and just drop them to your favorite side. Gaze goes over the opposite shoulder, finding some final twists. Coming out of this practice with open backs, long spine. Continuing to breathe here. Resting in our twist. Inhale to bring the knees back up and drop them towards the other side. Gaze going over the opposite shoulder, getting in that same twist once again on the other side. Just allowing yourself to rest here, a restful posture, before we take Savasana, our final resting pose. So just continue to breathe in and out. Bring the legs back up to center, and then take a happy baby. You can gently rock back and forth here if that's what feels good to you. Just inviting any final movements that feel right in your body before we come into our final resting posture, Savasana. So when you're ready, allow yourself to release. Legs extending long, arms beside you, finding that restful breath, holding on to this feeling as you walk out of your practice, holding on to that for the rest of your day or night at peace. We have nothing left to do here today. I invite you to stay here as long as you need to. Or you can begin to bring a little movement back into the fingers, the hands, and the feet, taking a big stretch and feeling that long spine we've been lengthening throughout our practice, rolling over into fetal position, preparing for that new beginning as you walk off your mat here. You can gently make your way into a seat to carry on with your day. Thank you all for practicing with me here today, and I hope to see you again. Namaste.